HighBridge, a division of Recorded Books, presents Keep Calm and Log On, Your Handbook for Surviving the Digital Revolution, by Gillian Gus Andrews, read by Tavia Gilbert. Publisher's Note: in this audio edition, you will hear references to illustrations, figures, worksheets, and tables present in the print and ebook formats of this book. Introduction. Surviving the Digital Revolution. They told us the digital revolution was going to do great things for us. Everything would be more convenient, with the world at our fingertips. We'd have more access to things we needed, and it would just be fun. Revolution sounds good, right? In school, we may have been told in glowing terms about the revolutions that happened in our nations. We learned that the Industrial Revolution, which made it easier for people to get food, clothing, and goods, improved our lives. The Consumer Revolution that followed, and the appliances and gadgets it produced, made housework easier. So, why doesn't the digital revolution feel so great? Maybe you feel overwhelmed by the sheer volume of stuff to keep up with, now that your device goes everywhere with you. Like you're always on, and your device keeps interrupting you. Like you lose hours down the internet hole without even knowing where that time is gone. Maybe you're exhausted by fake news or the disinformation that seems to be floating around everywhere. Or how negative everything seems to be online. People fighting, talking politics, wringing their hands about the latest outbreak of violence. Maybe you're worried about identity theft or privacy violations. Maybe you've been harassed or stalked online. Maybe you just secretly feel like you're not as good at digital stuff as everyone else and you'll never catch up. I'm going to let you in on something many of us have forgotten about revolutions. Revolution means everything changes. Who's in control, what we do at work, and who gets to do it. Whether there are any jobs to be had at all. Whose information gets trusted and whose gets dismissed as fake. Which spaces are safe and which have suddenly become dangerous. Revolution affects how we feed ourselves and where we live, and whether there's enough food and housing to go around. It even affects how we relate to our loved ones. All of these changes make it feel like we have to scramble to keep up. The fact is, a revolution is a frightening thing to live through. It means people get hurt, our loved ones and those who are least able to fend for themselves. You're not alone. And you're not wrong if you were scared or worried by what's going on in the news, in your bank account, and in your digital devices these days. This is what it feels like to live through a revolution. Frankly, it doesn't feel great. There have been plenty of books talking excitedly about how the technological revolution will supercharge business. This is not one of those books. We're past the time for hype and excitement. What we need now is a survival handbook. There are also plenty of books telling us about dangers on the internet or what not to do online. This isn't one of those books either. Ultimately, we still need to live our lives, and we can't just give up the internet and our phones. What we need are skills to protect ourselves. This book is for us regular people who just want to spend time with our friends and family, keep a roof over our heads, feed our kids, and do a good day's work. For those of us who feel overwhelmed by our digital lives, maybe have even already given up on social media and gotten rid of our online accounts, who worry the tech revolution is moving so fast we'll struggle to keep up in our jobs, who are worried this revolution may not be making life better. This book is a guide to living through the digital revolution without getting trampled. Be prepared. Let's take heart in one thing. We are not the first people in history to live through a time of radical upheaval and change. If our ancestors had not lived through revolutions, both technological and political, we would not be here. During times like these, we can look back to examples of the work they did together to survive and thrive. In this book, I'll tell stories about things ordinary people have done throughout history to cope with revolutions and wars. Let's see what advice we can take from them. Even young citizens during the 2 world wars stepped up, while the world tore itself apart around them. Youth groups were called on to contribute to their community's survival. Girl Scouts suspended cookie sales and collected scrap metal instead, sending valuable resources to the front. They set up first aid stations to help in case of air raids. Boy Scouts were called on to watch telephone lines, water reservoirs, and railway stations in case of tampering, and delivered all-clear messages to their communities after air raids. Scouts also watched the seas for approaching ships, ran messages between posts, and saved their pocket money to support hospitals and orphanages. President Franklin D. Roosevelt turned to the Boy Scouts first to help put up posters that informed communities about conserving resources, volunteering for the war effort, and protecting secrets from Axis spies. Why? The Scouts were already known and trusted by their communities. We can follow the same patterns Scouts did during the wars to find ways to contribute to our communities during cyber warfare today. We need to watch for people who try to cause trouble in our digital communities and make sure that we pass along critical messages from trustworthy, knowledgeable sources. And we need to conserve resources. Communities have traditionally trusted scout groups because they are organized, and the mission of these organizations is to help young people grow up ethically and live good lives. Even today, in the Central African Republic, the Boy Scouts have emerged as a surprising source of stability in a country racked by fighting. Their solid organizational skills have helped their tens of thousands of members come together across religious divisions and poorly connected cities to administer vaccination programs and even negotiate the release of hostages by armed groups. As I was researching the history of what Scouts have done in times of unrest, it occurred to me that in the digital revolution, it can be useful for us to have bylaws, as Scout organizations do, to focus us on how we can do best for our communities. The Girl Scout law, for instance, asks girls to pledge to be honest and fair, considerate and caring, courageous and strong, responsible and respectable. Boy Scouts are asked to do much the same. I was a Girl Scout when I was a kid, so I learned all that. What sticks in my mind most about being a Scout isn't Scout laws, though. It's the fun stuff. And the stuff I'm proud I learned to do. Build a campfire, take care of a horse on the trail, flip over a capsized canoe, and lead younger girls in silly camp songs, my favorite part. But my Scout leaders knew that the things we learned to do would help build the qualities of the Scout laws in us. Leading songs made me considerate of the little ones. Riding the trail made me courageous. Be prepared was the Scout motto, and that meant being prepared for anything, whether we found ourselves alone in the woods or speaking in front of our local government. If you were a Scout, or a guide, or 4-H member, or part of any group that helped you face challenges, remember what you managed to accomplish that you didn't expect you could. And remember how kids in Scouting organizations have helped in hard times for decades. This book, like your old Scout Handbook, we'll suggest a bunch of activities to help you navigate the worst parts of living through the digital revolution. What guides these activities? I've come up with the following Keep Calm Scout laws to use as themes throughout the book. Try saying them to yourself. Are there any ideas that feel new? Which ones feel useful? I am genuinely living through an information revolution, and revolutions don't always feel good. Mentally preparing for life online can help me keep calm and understand what's really going on. It helps to look for the helpers. Understanding what technologies actually do to my brain can help me break patterns that aren't helping me live my best life. Even the little changes I make to my life online can make me safer and happier. The struggles I have with technology are not my fault, and I'm not stupid. My digital life may feel unimportant in the big picture, but it's important to me. Control of my digital and media life should be mine. I talk to different people in my life in different ways. It should be up to me to decide who I want to talk to, how, and when. Trust, and the information we trust, belong to us. They are resources we build in our communities, together, for each other. If something digital is not doing work for me right now, I can turn it off. If I didn't ask for something my device is giving me, I should make it go away. Security happens because of my behavior, not someone else's, and not because of a gadget or app. If I can understand where my own opinion comes from, I will be better prepared to protect myself from people who want to manipulate me. Likewise, if I understand how communities decide what information to trust, I will be better prepared to identify bad information. You'll notice that a number of these laws are about working on your own mindset. This may seem like navel-gazing. If it's the world that's going crazy, why are we looking inside ourselves? Frankly, in an attention economy and an information revolution, our minds, attention, and beliefs are a resource. Just like scrap metal, rubber, paper, and food that scouts were called on to conserve during the 2 world wars, our attention and trust are now scarce commodities. We've only got so many hours in a day to spend staring at a screen and trying to make sense of the world around us. There are more and more demands on our attention. Corporations, politicians, and governments are fighting for every scrap of our trust and our opinions they can get. And some of the ways they want to use them might cause unexpected damage, not only to us, but also our communities and our democracies. In this book, I will delve into a forgotten history of how communities have prepared to defend their mental resources in past times of crisis. And I will explore how mindfulness, an idea that comes from meditation, may help us understand where our attention, opinions, habits, and trust are going. Keep calm. The inspiration for this book's title is a British government poster from World War II that has enjoyed a revival as an online meme. In 1939, when Germany was threatening to bomb the United Kingdom, the Ministry of Information developed a series of posters with the goal of encouraging British citizens not to give up when faced with the destruction of their cities. Keep calm and carry on was one of them. At the time, there was some cynicism about the posters. The war still seemed far away. Some people thought the message was patronizing in the face of a mortal threat. Ultimately, this was propaganda. The government wanted people to maintain a particular attitude, and it circulated these posters, aiming to ensure that attitude. But within the idea of keeping calm in a time of crisis, there is a nugget of truth. According to a range of experts in psychology, education, and even religion, maintaining calm and understanding our own reactions to difficult situations can help us survive by making better decisions. If we identify information that is frightening and understand where it comes from, we can lower our stress levels. If we notice we are distracted, we can get our attention back on track. If we understand why we feel helpless, we can work to build skills we may be missing. If we understand where our gut reactions and opinions come from, we can overcome biases that might make us fall for fake news. In the opening chapters of this book, I'll discuss the reasons why media and technology upset us and stress us out. Throughout the book, I'll present exercises we can do as we interact with media and technology to maintain our cool and keep our wits about us. These exercises will help you identify your own reactions, so you can reflect on them and change them. You might be saying, wait, technology or media? You're not really making a distinction. In this book, I talk about a wide range of communications technologies, everything from the written word itself, which is considered a technology, to movies and video games. I also take people's ideas about these media throughout human history and apply them to media they may not have been applied to before. Frankly, at this point in history, ways of communicating all melt together. There are still media delivered by the mail carrier, broadcast over the airwaves, or projected in a theater, right alongside similar media delivered through digital technology. Whether made by your friends and family, by a foreign government, or by a big media company, I think it's worth considering them all together to see what we get out of them. About mindfulness. So, how do we keep calm? When it feels like bombs are falling all around us, it is important for all of us to maintain calm around ourselves. Without it, we might make decisions that make our situations worse. This is where mindfulness comes in. What is mindfulness? Jon Kabat-Zinn, the founder of the Center for Mindfulness, describes it as paying attention, on purpose, in the present moment, non-judgmentally. Specifically, paying attention to what you are thinking. Not beating yourself up over what you're thinking, not grabbing onto a thought and trying to fix it or rolling it over and over in your mind. Just noticing a thought and being aware that it's just a thought. It may not be the truth. One of my favorite quotes, by Shunryu Suzuki, sums up what it is like to be mindful, treating your mind as if it were a house on a summer day. Leave your front door and your back door open. Allow your thoughts to come and go. Just don't serve them tea. By now, many people are familiar with the idea that paying attention to our thoughts and feelings can reduce our stress and anxiety and help us enjoy our lives more. Some people may have encountered mindfulness through therapy, some through exercises like yoga or meditation, or some through spiritual practice. But mindfulness isn't just spiritual. There's a lot of science to support the claim that if you can notice and name thoughts and feelings that occur to you, you will be better able to stay calm and keep your head. Believe it or not, research shows that just naming an emotion you are having, and not necessarily out loud, it can just be in your head, makes you more able to overcome that emotion. When Matthew Lieberman, a psychologist at UCLA, ran studies imaging the brain's response to emotions, he found that naming an emotion or writing it down actually changed which part of the brain was active. Our brains have a fight-or-flight center that kicks in when we are frightened or sense danger, a primitive part of the brain we have in common with many animals. Our brains also have a number of circuits that handle other emotions, like pleasure, disgust, and excitement. But when you say, "I'm angry," or write about how you are sad, you are accessing the neocortex, the layer of your brain that kicks in when you use language. The neocortex is the part of your brain that takes the time to analyze. When it takes over, the primitive, reactive brain cools down, and so do your emotions. So some people might tell you, just think positive, and encourage you to repeat phrases that will make you be happier. But when you're actually experiencing negative emotions, fear in particular, it's more effective to name those emotions, to make your rational brain kick in and calm you down. How to keep calm and log on. Scout Law. Mentally preparing for life online can help me keep calm and understand what's really going on. Regardless of what overwhelming flood of scary items showed up in your social media feed or the news today, there are a couple of mindfulness activities you can do to help you maintain your composure. Decide on a goal before you log on, pick up your phone, or turn on the TV. Being clear about this may help you keep from binging or getting distracted. It may even keep you from absorbing bogus information as you aimlessly wander around the internet. Decide what you are trying to do. Check in with a particular friend. Are you just trying to relax? Do you want to learn something? Write down your goal to stay accountable. Decide how long you want to be on. Setting a timer can help. Are you getting distracted from your goal? Don't beat yourself up. Just notice when it's happening and go back to what you meant to do. Noticing, rather than beating yourself up, can make it easier to get back on track. Just observe. Don't act on your emotions. Let them pass over you. If there's really something to be done, you will be in better shape to do it after you've processed what you're feeling for a little while. This idea that mindfulness can not only help calm us down, but also protect us from bad information, may seem to some people like New Age hogwash. So you might be surprised to learn that even back in 1938, on the eve of World War II, a group of teachers and journalists recommended a form of mindfulness as protection against propaganda. as a way to help civilians survive floods of misleading information. Political groups and governments were trying to sway people's opinions with fake news, just as they are now. That story, and the method these teachers and journalists use to fight fake news, starts in part 3 of this book. But I'm just not good at technology. It's helpful to pay attention to one more thing as you prepare yourself to cope with the stress of the current digital landscape. How do you feel about your own technology skills? If you're a so-called millennial, you may have been told that because you're a digital native who grew up with technology, it just comes naturally to you. This may make it harder to grapple with moments when you feel other people are succeeding wildly at social media while you fail, or when you have social anxiety because you'd rather text than talk to people in person, or when your devices or connections stop working and you can't figure out why. If you're older, you may have given up trying to be as good at technology as the young folks and have thrown up your hands in despair, letting someone younger or more skilled fix a problem. Regardless of what generation we're part of, many of us fall into a position of helplessness when it comes to dealing with the technology in our lives. We let someone else take charge of our thorniest technology problems, fouled up Wi-Fi or devices that are running slow, because we believe we're just not good at technology. Remind yourself that your struggles with technology are not because you are stupid or bad at technology. This is an important part of the mental preparation you'll need online. Many physical self-defense techniques stress that in order to defend ourselves physically, we have to defend ourselves mentally. And self-confidence is not just important to self-defense, it's also important to learning. So let's take a moment to think about reasons why we may not feel confident with technology. Part 1. Keeping calm. Chapter 1. No one is born good at technology. If you're feeling especially hopeless when you're struggling to get social media to work for you like they do for other people, to get your phone or laptop to do your bidding, or to learn a new tech skill, some nagging ideas may be getting in your way. Have you ever heard or had ideas like these? Some people are just naturally good at technology, but I'm not one of them. I'm too old for this tech stuff. Men are better with technology than women are. Technology just isn't something my people do. Everyone here is better with the internet than I am. I don't belong here. I've got news for you. There's no scientific proof behind any of that. It's just not true. There is scientific evidence that if you believe that some people are smart or naturally good at things, you will likely perform worse at those things. If you change your attitude to believe that you can improve your skills with practice and work, your performance is likely to improve. I don't belong here thoughts are often a sign of imposter syndrome or stereotype threat. These cause us to doubt ourselves and worry that everyone else can tell we're faking it and we shouldn't be in our job or social group. This happens a lot to those of us who are women or people of color trying to break into tech-heavy fields, programming in particular. These thoughts can actually get in the way of us getting work done by distracting us and slowing us down. And again, they're not true. Let them go. Find someone who can remind you how much progress you've made. Nobody, and I mean nobody, is born good at technology. There's no scientific evidence for it. Using technology requires language skills, and no human infant is born speaking. It requires small motor hand movements, and no babies are born good at using their hands. These things develop over time. Sure, the earlier in life you pick up a mouse or a cell phone, the more time you will have to practice and get good at it. But that doesn't mean people who have spent time developing such skills are naturally good at technology. I'm looking at you, millennials. They're historically experienced with technology. If you practice more, you will get better. Don't believe me? Try making a note in your calendar or diary of things you learn about your digital life, your security, privacy, skills, and ability to cope with tech-related stress, and moments you realize you can do things you couldn't before. Just keeping track will give you more confidence that progress is possible. If you haven't had much time to practice, you're in good company, I promise. The vast majority of people alive today didn't learn how to use technology in school. Think about it. Suddenly you have these new things called personal computers, and later mobile devices out in the world by the billions. Teachers don't know how to use them. They haven't had time to learn. So who's going to teach the billions of people who now have these devices in their homes and offices? For the past 50 years or so, not more than a couple of generations, we've had this chicken and egg problem of billions of people who need to learn about digital technology and a tiny number of people who have the know-how to teach them. So we're all of us learning as we go, millennials and older folks alike. It's not just you. Almost all of us have bumbled along outside of the classroom, sharing tips with each other, picking up ideas from TV and websites, and inventing our own ways of doing things as we go along. Learning about technology outside of school is normal. It's not somehow inferior. Nobody has a perfect idea of what they're doing with their laptop or phone, and anyone who pretends they do is mostly blowing hot air. Except that learning about technology is a part of living through this part of history. Sometimes that means you're going to feel dumb or ignorant. It's okay. You're not alone. It's not your fault goes double if you have a disability. People with disabilities, including dyslexia, ADD, or even color blindness, face more challenges with technology than most people. Most technology designers are young, healthy people. And frankly, young men outnumber young women in the field. They generally don't think about people with failing eyesight, mental limitations, or arthritic hands. When you run into software or a device that is designed to meet a wider range of physical needs, you can tell, right? Larger tech companies often staff an accessibility expert, whose job it is to make it clear to developers that their design choices may make digital life hard for people with limitations. The work these experts do is pretty cool. They make developers test the software while wearing weighted clothing, for instance, or with their fingers taped so that they can't move easily. They make them use a screen reader developed for blind users, or wear special glasses to simulate vision problems. This quickly drives the point home in a personal way that has turned some developers into passionate advocates for accessibility. Try turning on a screen reader for an average website sometime. It'll make you want to go yell at designers who make sounds or videos load automatically on a website. A poster that circulated among software designers pointed out that we all face the same challenges using technology at some point. The poster pointed out that holding and tapping on a phone can be a permanent challenge for someone who's had an arm amputated, a temporary one for someone with a broken arm, and a momentary inconvenience for someone holding a baby. One person might have permanently limited vision, whereas someone else's eyes might be blurred and teary because of a temporary allergic reaction that makes it hard to see. Technology designers ought to be planning for these cases. It benefits all of us. There's no reason why technology should make us feel incompetent or less than because of our limitations. How to keep calm and log on. Scout laws. The struggles I have with technology are not my fault, and I'm not stupid. Control of my digital and media life should be mine. Even the little changes I make to my life online can make me safer and happier. The good news is that most of your devices and their software allow you to customize certain settings to make a standard device more comfortable for you to use. Somewhere under Settings, Controls, or System Preferences, you should be able to customize your device in the following ways. Speak to your device instead of typing or tapping. Have your device read text to you. Have captions for audio or video. Use a game controller or other easy-to-move switch to control your device. Enable special keystrokes or gestures that let you zoom in on part of the screen. Change the color, remove the color, stop extra movement, or change the font on screen so you find it easier to focus and read. Change the
Sample complete. Ready to continue?